Let me ask you something. Are you getting everything out of your rent-to-own business? If you're not an A-Pro member, then the answer is probably no. Look, advocacy is A-Pro's bread and butter. This is why they were created and what they do best. But here's the thing. A-Pro membership is about way more than advocacy. A-Pro connects you to the movers and the shakers of the industry. People who've been there, done that, and they can help you do it even better. A-Pro's monthly webinars give you expert insights and actionable takeaways. It's like having a masterclass for your business every single month. Got questions about complex regulations or sticky situations? No problem. A-Pro's legal hotline gives you direct access to experts who have got the answers. That's a peace of mind that you can't put a price on. And let's not forget the resources, news, updates, and tools that keep you ahead of the curve. Scholarships for your team? Check. Disaster relief when you need it most? Double check. A-Pro is your ultimate support system in the rent-to-own world. So stop settling for less. With A-Pro, members get more. More support, more connections, and more success. Head over to rtohq.org and join the A-Pro family today. Because in this business, more isn't just better. It's essential. See you at the top with A-Pro.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the RTO Show with Danny and Pete. I'm your host, Danny.
And this is Pete, and today we're going to find out if we're going to retain or replace.
Retain or replace. Pete, is there a time limit that we should be placing on new employees or current employees on what is the time frame of evaluating someone to replace them? Is there a time frame? I personally don't think so.
I think that frame can honestly change in every situation. I think that you can look at, depending on your experience and how much you've done it, I think you can literally walk into somebody's store and sit there with them, and you can know after a couple of days, you can know after a couple of weeks, and it could take 30 or 90 days. But I don't think
there's a couple of years.
It could take a couple of years. I don't think there's a limit. I really believe that it starts from the moment you say hello to, could be a couple of years. But I definitely think that you can make a decision fairly quickly, even if everything seems on the real okay.
So, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put some personal history out there. I've made several decisions in my DM career. I have terminated employees after 1 week, after 30 days. I have let certain managers skate by for 2 years and then finally made a decision. And one of the topic conversations that me and you have, me and the owners have, is how much time is too much time or how much time is short time. I'm just going to go ahead and say, I think you go with your gut. I'm just going to leave it like that. I got to go on my gut.
I've been always a pen and paper kind of guy. And I want to say that my always go-to was to look at the numbers and go, how long can I let this affect me before it's created something that I can't come back from? Is it a training issue or is it, I won't do issue? It will do and it won't do. Will do I can work with, I can train you. A won't do means probably an immediate replacement. But then you have this is the thing here. This is the big question. If you have a tried and true, but not really shining, and you have a brand new guy off the bench, but this guy's got some serious potential, when do you say, I'm called, get out the game, I'm putting in the new guy? When does that happen?
You know where I stand on this, and Larry says this to us all the time. If you have an opportunity to get Tom Brady on your team, what do? Do you tell Tom Brady no? Because you've had a guy for 5 years that's, giving you 8-4 consistent seasons, but Brady's going to take you to the Super Bowl, hands down. And
so if you were the Bucks, then you were like, I'm Brady all day long. I'll put somebody to pasture.
Sorry,
and I'll go
Winston.
with the guy.
Sorry, man. Like, you're not a bad quarterback. You're not a bad player. You're not a bad leader, but I'm getting Brady. No hard feelings. Business is business. That's how I kind of stand on the whole thing.
Okay, so what happens if you got the tried and true guy, and you have somebody who doesn't necessarily have the Brady stats? Now, they're looking good, but they're a rookie quarterback. Now, they're coming in. They might be a little younger, but a little bit less experience, a little bit less tried and true. Well, you have the guy who's put in maybe 7 or 8 seasons, but he doesn't have a real big injury list problem, right? Somebody who comes to work, somebody who shows up on time, somebody who's consistently there and will show up on the days that they should normally be off because either they're short a person or they know they're not performing, maybe not performing to where they need to be. Or do you go with the rookie GM who has the ability to do everything, but then you really don't know the history?
Now, that's a tough question, and that where I would probably take a look more of your expertise and do a pen and paper type of mathematical statistics and weigh out pros and cons and potential risk and rewards. But then again, my main thought that comes in mind is a rookie. I have the potential to train and develop exactly how I want them to be, and I could probably get even more years off of them. On the other hand, I got this tenured loyal guy who's given us consistent performances. I kind of owe some loyalty to him and stand by his side and just try to keep working, developing him as well. That's the tough question right there, where you just proposed to me. That's where I feel like I'm probably going to snatch that rookie and keep him as a bench warmer and probably use him as a motivator to my existing guys to let them know, hey, at any point, I have a replacement ready. If I need to sub someone out, I will. I will make that tough call. I'm rooting for you, but just know I'm also a businessman and I can't afford a losing team. I mean, does that sound too cutthroat?
No, because business is business. But I will tell you this. So you've got your tried and true, right? He's out on the field. He's out in the streets. He's trying to do his best. He's taking customer complaints. He's talking to his guys. He's doing his best. But you can see the wear and tear. He's been doing it a little while. He's been a starter for you for a while. But now he's not as customer oriented as he was. He is a little bit tired. He shows up on time, but man, he might not start working for the first hour because he's just getting all the kinks out of his armor, right? And then you got this new guy who's not tried and true, but then you're looking to put him in place. And here's a question. Let's say you go with the rookie GM and you want to put him there. What do you do with the guy you just pulled off the field that's given you the time, the tenureship? He's given you growth on, your reoccurring revenues. He's given you customer growth, but he hasn't been doing it in the last year. Well, what do you do with that guy?
Well, first of all, if you're talking about a year, then a year of poor performance should have already been coached on paper a couple times. So it should have already been a direct message. It should have been addressed. The accountability should have been assigned and followed up on my part. So the last thing I ever want to do is completely blindside someone. Not saying it doesn't happen. I have blindsided people last second, last minute. I'm guilty of it. But for the most part, if you're a guy that's been with us for a couple years, then in my honest to God's opinion is you should already know if you're on the hot seat or not. And that falls on me to make sure I'm having those direct conversations with you, putting things on paper, evaluating the staff and team, which is my opinion, a direct responsibility of the GM, not mine. I would assist you. I'll help you. But, Brady, again, I'm going back to Brady. He helped recruit and he helped organize the team that the Bucs have right now. He went and got, Gronk, who's retired now, but the first time he came back, he's the one that convinced him to come out of retirement, come with me and play.
So you're saying the GM should be on the point of bringing in people, staying on top of them, make sure they're good to go, especially if you're a tenured manager.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And even from a rookie manager, because I try to make that as clear as possible. For me, a good manager or leader is coming to me and addressing with me a weak link they have in their team before I'm even coming about performance issues.
Now, something's funny. When we were in Indiana, right, I got a chance to meet up with Mike Skehan, who's somebody I've known for a few years in the rent-to-own industry. Mike is somebody that I really look up to. Just so you're aware, Mike Skehan has been working for Buddy's Home Furnishings for quite a while. He's actually working in the as a division manager. Now, their division managers are a little bit different than our division managers. Regionals to them are division managers to us, which a regional would have like 7 stores. And a divisional manager would be a regional to us. He has 43 locations. So he's a 15-year vet, division manager with 43 locations. We just had this conversation, and one of the things that we were discussing is when you start coming across these things, number one is you want to fix the problem before you're a part of the problem. When you're a part of the problem, now there's an issue. And I agree with you 100%. If you have a GM that hasn't brought these issues up to you to say, hey, I need to address it. Hey, I've been trying to train. Hey, I've been trying to maybe replace or look for some new talent or find a way to get this person to do what they are good at, maybe change positions. Well, then that means that you might actually be part of the problem. And if you're part of the problem, then it led us to the conversation of retain or replace.
That's a tough call as managers we make, whether you're store manager, district manager, regional manager. I've had several conversations, and let's just put it out there. A lot of the managers, they hold on to tenure guys, and they're looking more at the pros and the cons. Oh, this person shows up. Oh, this person is bilingual, and they're the only bilingual person in the store. Or hey, they're really good with computers and services. Or, I've heard all kinds of excuses from several GMs about certain employees that we admit that they are probably the weakest link on the team, but yet the GM, for whatever reason, holds on to that weak link because they make up certain pros that they feel outweigh the cons. And it kind of goes with that saying, you know, the devil you know is better than the one you don't. A lot of people are scared to make that replacement change because they don't know what's going to happen. I'm guilty of it. I've done it before. I remember when I was a store manager, I didn't want to replace an individual because I didn't know what I was going to get for the next one. And sometimes you roll the dice and it doesn't work. I had a mediocre salesperson. We replaced them with somebody else. That person lasted 1 week. I immediately started regretting the decision we made as a upper management to replace the C plus associate to then now I don't have anybody. And then I had to go months looking, trying to find. Now, in the end, did we make the right decision? I think we did, because then we catapulted forward once I found the right person. And in my experience, that's what I feel is the right answer. You can't be afraid to make the decision to replace someone because you're afraid of the unknown. You're afraid of you might have to go through 2 or 3 people and then find that fourth one is that right replacement person. But you got to go through that process. You got to go through the pain. Just like when you're working out, you want that mass, you want that muscle, you got to go through the pain of lifting the weight. You're not going to get it there overnight.
Well, another part of the conversation that we had, me and Mike, was also, and what I called it was the lean or green. The lean being a new hire that is somebody that's already kind of done rent to own. They have a little bit of experience. They've been around. Maybe they've had a couple of experiences with 1 or 2 other rent to own companies. And you look at them and you say, yeah, you know what? That's a great person to replace them with. And then you find out that person might come with some preconceived notions or some old habits. Or do you take that person who's already been kind of trained, a little bit experienced, and kind of try to refocus them? Or is it easier to go with the green person who hasn't been in the business, but will take everything you have to say a lot more direct and a lot, in a sense that you're trying to get them to somewhere and they're actually going to listen to you in a different way than somebody who already has that experience. So the lean versus green, and I think at this point in time, everybody's scared of the green because we're having employee shortages, which makes it extremely difficult to, like you said, you almost are okay with the devil you know versus the devil you don't.
So with the green, with the exception of the employee shortage we're facing, but let's take that out of the mix for just a second. And let's pretend that it is okay, that we're okay. It's, 2018, 2019, and hiring people is, easier than it has been since the pandemic, okay? Even then, people were scared of letting go of the lean for the green. Why? The excuse of it's going to take time to train and develop this individual, and a lot of people are impatient.
Well, the investment is there because when you talk about an experienced person, you've already made the investment. So it might be a little bit easier on the pocketbook to get them retrained versus a green person you're making a huge investment. So you're going through a drug screen, you're going through a background, you possibly are going through a motor vehicle check, depending on what they do. And then you're putting them in there. And these people can't answer the phones. They can't answer the phones. They really can't talk to customers. You have to put in that training effort to make sure that they get on par with the rest of your people so that they're not left holding the bag while the new guy is just kind of, edging along, right? So you put that money up front to train and get them set up and learn to then maybe find out they're not going to work out. So you have, on one hand, the guy who's already been here. He shows up. He might not do everything great, but he'll give you 80%. Or you've got the green that might give you 110%, but it's going to take you a month to really kind of get them there and then probably another year to be experienced. When do you make that gamble? And what is it that you think would set that gamble on one side or the other? When do you think to say, this is not a lotto ticket. This is a for sure bet that I'm putting money in it now that I'll get back later on?
Well, let's talk about the lean and green again for a second. So if you go with the lean, I feel upper management feel, well, I can hold this person to a quicker time frame of accountability because they're experienced and they have knowledge. So they've done this before. They run a store. So, hey, it's put up or shut up time. Like you can put a time frame. I'm going to give you 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Where if you go with the green guy or girl, you're probably more inclined to extend that courtesy of time frame of evaluation because you understand that they've never done this before. You got to take time and develop them and train them. Listen, in my experience is I've seen it with a brand new manager. I've seen it with a veteran manager that from the outside perspective, whatever, maybe you have 15 plus years in the industry, but you're only with the company 3 weeks and I'm giving you a GM spot because you've done it before, but I've seen it. Right away, instantly, without looking at number, performances, anything like that, the actions that are being taken every single day, if you made the right decision or not. And I also believe that goes on the other side of that coin. almost immediately is if the person you put in there is not the right person and it was a wrong decision. You just know. You might work with them and you can develop them. You might help them become better. I'm not saying that's out of the question, but I'm just a believer that almost instantly, immediately, give it a week or two, you just have a good or bad feeling right away.
Let's take a quick break.
Hey everyone, it's Pete Chow here from the RTO Show podcast, and I want to tell you about a company that's making a real difference in the rent-to-own space, Wow Brands. I've seen firsthand how they approach marketing, and let me tell you, it's not just about ads. Wow Brands builds complete digital ecosystems designed specifically for the rent-to-own industry. Their e-commerce and lead generation strategies are built to bring in qualified leads. And did I mention that they are actively working with the rent-to-own industry while also being members of APRO and TRIB? Listen, these folks are passionate problem solvers. They don't just slap something together. They design, build, and scale the kind of digital retail tools your business needs and your customers actually want. So if you're serious about growing, reach out to Wow Brands at wowbrands.com. I trust them, and I think you will too. So this is a little bit of a side note, but I've got a question because I'm curious. We've all mentioned in the past when we talk about new hires, people that have come on board that we think the profession that they had before is probably not a good pull, right? I've learned that restaurant managers that we've pulled on historically just aren't set out for what we do. They see things a little bit differently. So being that we might know some of the places we shouldn't get them from, in your opinion, what is a good industry that might make a good pull?
Retail. You can get good. If you're talking about a green individual who has no experience in rent to own, I think you go and look for at least supervisor experience. Personal experience, Walmart. Walmart develops good supervisors, and they are adamant about time management, which you and I both know in this business, you have to be excellent at your time management skills. You have deliveries, you have showroom merchandising, ordering, collection practices, sales, marketing, like reports, auditing. You have to be on point. And it's almost like an every hour thing. Where are we at every hour? Where are we at? How many rents we got? How many customers we have? Have we dropped any percentages? Where's our revenue at? You're always kind of thinking about the time and where you're at the day. And I know for a fact Walmart does implement that training as a supervisor. I'm a product of that. I came from Walmart. I recently have hired an hourly employee who was a manager at Walmart. She took a step back. Now she's with us. We just promoted her to assistant. And I'm already told some of my people, be on the lookout. Just watch her. She's going to be good. And you can just see how, even though with no experience of rent to own, the immediate impact she made and how she just handles the supervisory of the other employees. It's a presence that they display. And I think, and it doesn't have to be Walmart. It could be Target. It could be, cash and carrier, food, restaurant management. That's another good one. If you do a grocery management like Publix, or I don't think Sweet Bay is around a cash and carrier. I don't know if that's how far back I go, but.
Yo, he's old.
Look who's talking.
But, another place that I found was a really good pull place was actually call centers. People who are call centers are not afraid to be on the phone. They are held to a time limit. They have a professionalism that they usually come with. And if you happen to talk to a supervisor that was in a call center, they know how to manage several people. They know how to diffuse situations. They are very good on the phone, and they're quick thinking on their feet. So for everybody out there in, the RTO world, the RTO land, two guys have been doing it together for 28 years. Our opinion is Walmart's and call centers, probably the best place that you can make a pull from.
Yes, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And that's why it's important to, when you're recruiting, you can use all the ads and the platforms like Indeed, ZipRecruiter, or whatever. But look at your Walmart. And I'm saying Walmart now, but everybody shops there. And look at the faces of the employees. And specifically, if you can find a supervisor there, bump into them, have a chat with them, give them your business card. Not knocking any company down, but I know how many hours you have to work. I know the pressure that is applied to them. And when you can bring that over to us, not saying we don't apply pressure, because of course we do. We have quotas we have to meet, but they're actually used to that quota. Same thing with grocery managers or grocery supervisors. Call centers, you're right. I believe they have quotas. They have a time limit of how much time they have to speak to a client and document and notate. So they're already used to that environment. And I mean, it's hard to go into a call center and recruit and pass out cards, but retails, you can do it all day, every day.
When it comes to the retain or replace, we kind of know an idea of where to get people from. We kind of know what we're looking for as far as replacement. But go to the first part. When do you think it's a better time to retain versus replace?
When is a better time to retain? Like time of the year? If we're talking about time of the year?
No. When do you think when you're talking about replacement versus retainment and you're given a situation, what would make you think maybe just retaining this person will be better than replacing them with the rookie on the bench?
For me, and again, this is the difference between me and you.
Those wheels are turning.
Yeah, well,
the wheels are turning.
This is the difference between me and you. I think I'm more emotional and you're more logical. All right. You said it yourself. And we've had these conversations. Okay. You have told me before in the past that you, like me, also knew right away that a certain individual probably wasn't the right candidate. But yet in your mind, you allowed this individual a certain time frame and you collected all kinds of data and information so you could present it on paper to justify, hey, XYZ, this is why this is not working out and I got to make a replacement. And
that is exactly true.
Where I am more of a feeling kind of person. I want to feel the energy in the office. I want to feel the energy of the staff. Are we happy? Are we laughing? Do I see that ambition and drive? If I don't see that, I personally don't need no paper and pen. Like, I might, I get with HR, I get with our owners, but I'm already making that comment instantly. Hey, I don't think it's a good fit. Now, do I make that decision right then and there? Probably not. What I do best is start looking for my backup. That's what I do. But the answer to your question, when do I decide to retain rather than replace? It goes hand in hand with what I'm just saying. It's that feeling I get. Do I believe that this individual, maybe they're in a funk, maybe they're complacent, maybe they need a new challenge? That person, in one way or form, needs to convince me that they still have fire in them and that they want to climb to the top, that they want to be better. It might not be at that location, and they might, as long as we can have that honest conversation and let me know, listen, I think I wore my welcome at this door. I really would like a new location, a new challenge or whatever. I'm always open for that, but that does tell me that there's something more there than just complacent. I'm just here to collect a check. I'm just here to work. I got responsibilities.
So one of my biggest concerns is that when we talk about it, right, let's say I'm sitting down with a GM and we're having a conversation about how they are, how they've been performing, what they're doing, and then, maybe they do need a break. Now, the big question is, do we step them down or do we actually give them a break? Because the thought process is you can only have one driver, right? And if you put in another driver, in other words, if you put in another GM to that spot, nobody wants to be a GM for a week and then move. Nobody wants to be a GM for 6 weeks and then move. So in my thought process is if you need to take a break, we're going to have to step you out of that position and put somebody else in that spot. Now, here's the other side of the coin. You step somebody out of that position, you put them, somewhere where they can kind of just not sit back and relax, but somewhere where they can kind of de-stress a little bit and kind of handle that position very well, but know that they're looking for another GM position. Are you willing to possibly lose what you retained because you stepped them back? Or do you give them a different way to de-stress? And I don't know if that's a really easy answer to come up with, but my thought process is you might just have to deal with removing that GM out of that spot and almost having to see where you land.
Okay, so the best analogy I can give you, sports reference again, all right?
Sports.
Do you bench a player or do you cut them entirely from the team? That's how I look at that situation. You need a break? Okay. Do I still see value and asset of you to my team, but you need a break? I'm going to bench you and we're going to talk. Now, if you're unhappy with the bench and you decide you want to talk to your agent and get traded to another team because you feel you still should be in that starting position, we have that direct conversation, because then maybe the person I just subbed in for you is doing way better than you. And I hate to lose you off my team, but we both agreed that you needed a bench for a little bit, but now you feel like you're ready to get back into that position, but I don't have that position for you because this guy was doing better than what you were doing. Hate to lose you, but hey, we can make that trade. I wish nothing but the best for you. I want to see you do good, but I just don't think you're there for me at this time, and that's not what this team needs. On the flip side, you bench a player and they stay loyal and they put in their bench time, and then they get that shot. Maybe that person that you subbed in gets injured, leaves on their own accord, and then it's time, hey man, Joe, you ready to step back in? You took a couple months off out of that starting position. You think you're ready to go back in the game? Yeah, coach, I'm ready. I needed that time off. Watch what I do. It's a flip of the coin. You go with your gut.
Historically speaking, I have had the unfortunate privilege of talking to a few GMs that I think needed a break, needed to step back and say, hey, listen, you got to gather yourself, and when the time is right, step back to it. And I've had people take that very negatively, and I've had people take it like, all right, I'll do what I have to do. And I will say, for the most part, the comeback is worth the wait. But I think that they have to be open and forthcoming and know we're doing this for a reason. You're going through this for a reason. Sometimes we do get burnt out. Sometimes we aren't the right person in the right spot. Sometimes it's a matter of the drive. And when I say drive, that could be both drives. It could be the drive time to work and the drive that you have to be at work. It could be what's going on at home. I've seen a lot of guys suffer from being really great, and then all of a sudden something happens at home, and their work is suffering, and it's big time. And there's nothing that you're really going to do to get them to be better or learn more or be more efficient. It's the fact that their mind is not in the game.
That happens quite frequently and more often than I would like to admit, but that's a different subject to me. I think that's an episode on its own, like personal work problems, but obviously family problems, health problems, they're going to affect your day-to-day work. And that's even a even difficult decision for me to make. When do you make that decision? Because the personal problems that is out of control of their own, but it's affecting the work. And when do you make that decision? I think at that point, that's probably when you look at longevity, tenureship, what they have done for us. But then you have to be realistic of the time frame of how much time I'm willing to allow this individual to go through this process. And we're all humans, we go through our own hardships and obstacles in life, and it's just a sad process sometimes. But again, I hate to sound like that cutthroat Roy Kroc, but we have a business to run.
Basically, retain or replace is a situation by situation.
Very much.
That you should go over with a fine-tooth comb, make sure that you make the best educated answer you can get, and at the very, very end, follow your gut.
Always follow your gut. Now, I would love to hear feedback. I'm sure I will. I probably upset some people. I think some people will agree. There'll be some disagreements, but I would personally like to hear anybody that's listening to this specific episode. What's your take? What's your theory? How do you calculate? Email us. I'm Danny at the RTOshowpodcast.com. You can email Pete at the RTOshowpodcast.com. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, hear the feedback. Maybe we'll talk about it on the next episode, and if we get enough replies from it, and let you know what the vote is.
We'll take a look at the replies. We'll tell you what's going on, and we'll try to give you some feedback. Don't forget, on the website coming soon, we're going to have some the RTO Show apparel. We'd love for you guys to be a part of and have. We're also going to probably have a giveaway come up soon. We're going to give you more on that in the next show, but we do want to let you guys know we love every bit of the support that we've been receiving. Guys, we do this for you, and I'll tell you right now, this is why we're doing it. If you have any questions, again, hit us up on the emails. Go to the website at www.thertoshowpodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. Take a look at our videos. Send us anything that you need to have a question about. We are open to our listeners. With that being said, Danny, you know what time it is.
This is the RTO Show with Danny and Pete.